Q bomb.
Yeah. I just like going through the alphabet. Hello and welcome to Show Biz Buzz with Bruno, presented by Mads Theater. I'm your host, Michael Bruno. Thank you for joining us on this bitter, freezing cold day. And today, if you want something really hot and fun to go to, we have Kishka with lovely Sarah Louise and William. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having
Absolutely.
us. We're excited.
Good. So Sarah Louise, tell us a little about yourself and who you are and how you've come to be sitting in this chair today.
Wow. Yeah. I think I'll give you the abridged version.
Okay.
But
All right.
basically, I moved to Madison from New York City in the winter of 2018, 2019. It was also bitterly, bitterly cold that winter. And I joined the Madison Circus space shortly thereafter, and I found my circus community and was very excited about that. And so by day, I'm a translator. I have a full-time job, but in my 30s, I discovered circus, and I went full bore off the deep end into the circus world. So I train and perform and produce shows whenever I get the chance. And yeah, I'm also on the board of the Madison Circus Space as the secretary. I produce shows there. I have a show in March coming up called Bizarre Bazaar, and I am so excited to be a cast member in Kishka.
So what was your background before you discovered circus?
Ooh, so I am a recovered academic.
Wow, I'm sorry. I'm glad for your recovery.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got a PhD from Columbia in French literature and Romance language philology. Very useful in this market, I can tell you. And like I said, I work as a translator, so I'm like a brainy word person. I have no physical background prior. I maybe like went for a run or went to a yoga class or something, but prior to taking my first circus class at age 33, I had no movement background whatsoever.
What was the spark that did that? How did you, like 33, to something that, hey, I want to be in the circus? Was that it?
I had some really major life changes that led me, like, honestly, looking for something to fill my time and something to give me purpose. And I stumbled into a free acro yoga class at a sports basement in San Francisco. And I remember doing these basic acro yoga poses and feeling totally blown away by what I could accomplish as a not physically skilled, not coordinated person. And I was like, wow, is this actually like possible? This whole time I've been telling myself, like, I'm just bad at sports and bad at physical things. And then, I saw somebody on a Lyra at an aerial yoga studio once, and I said, I want that.
Can you tell folks what a Lyra
what is
might
that?
be?
Yeah,
Those
so
that don't
a
know.
Lyra is basically like a round steel hoop that you hang from the air.
okay.
It's also called an aerial hoop or a cerceau, which is the French word for it. And it spins, and you basically dance around on it and move your body around this steel hoop, which, spoiler alert, it hurts a lot.
Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. Wow.
So definitely was a steep climb for me. It took me years to just be able to like do a pull up and pull up my own weight on this hoop. It did not come easy for me, but I like to tell that story because part of the message that we have at the Madison Circus Space is that circus is for everybody, right? Like, you do not need to be a 22-year-old former rhythmic gymnast to do circus. Like, there is room for you in our big tent.
Love it. What year were you in San Francisco?
I was in San Francisco 2014, 2015.
I was like way back in the day.
Okay.
Because I'll show you how old I am. Theater Artaud. You ever hear about that in San Francisco?
I have.
That
yeah,
was a
yeah.
huge thing when I was living there. They would do unbelievably amazing stuff like that. With my first introduction, I was producing theater in San Francisco. That had to be 1996, 97.
Yeah, I was
probably
in high
way
school
before,
then.
I was going to say,
So-
you were probably in kindergarten then.
High school.
That really kind of made a name. It was really kind of internationally known that Theater Artaud was this amazing space that did exactly what you're talking about. Cool. So now we'll go over, now that we know your whole backstory, your fascinating backstory, let's talk to William. William, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, well, I actually grew up in Texas, though of all my immediate family, I'm not the one born in Texas. I was actually born in Connecticut, but since I was 3, that's where I grew up. And then in actually summer of 2017 is when I moved to Madison for what I do. My day job is in healthcare IT today. And so from my growing up experience, I actually had a lot of experience in pageantry, mostly marching band and color guard or winter guard. And I had a bit of, I would say, foreshadowing. In 2014 summer, I marched drum corps with the Madison Scouts.
Okay.
So it was, a way to say you're probably going to go to Madison one time, whether I knew it then or not.
Right.
So I did find myself moving here initially for employment, but in terms of how I got involved with the Madison Circus space, I had actually a friend that found classes that are hosted there regularly, and they just said, "You want to try this out?" And I said yes, and mostly because I have distinct memories growing up watching Cirque du Soleil's Alegria. And for some reason, I think I saw it in person. I don't think that's true. I remember just having a VHS recording of it and watching it on that a lot. But I've had fond memories. And though similar to Sarah Louise, felt like it wasn't accessible for what I see Cirque du Soleil and these very trained acrobatics. So personally was quite pleased to see how successful and fun that you can do with anything circus related, and that you can similarly to I think folks find in the gym and working out, I found it through circus, is that as long as you are consistent, even just once a week, you'll see the progression and you'll see how far you've come. And even now when I perform for Kishka, or I actually will have a solo performance in Bizarre Bazaar in March, thinking about myself about 4 years ago, this is not where I thought I would be able to achieve. And it's really great to see that growth even in myself and to get that from circus. So I as well am a member of the Madison Circus space. I actually teach beginner classes on aerial fabrics or silks, which is my most preferred apparatus that I do. But I will also sometimes teach aerial hammock or sling, which you'll see for a lot of aerial yoga, or not as closer to circus, but more closer to yoga. And sometimes teach those as well at a very similar to what Sarah Louise said, try to get people to see that they can do it as well and that it is accessible to them. I cannot do the splits at all. And
even when you're hanging from the silk,
even when I'm hanging from the silk, if the body will stop at one point. But it is, and I guess that's what I like to say is most people see a lot of that, and that's what a lot of cheering happens when those moves happen for other circus shows. And it's not something you have to do to even feel like you're achieving something, whether it's physical fitness, or for me, it's more of a creative outlet. I had lost that when I stopped doing color guard. And that's like my dance background I have from there. So that's what circus gave me and was very interesting for me. And then from there, I've tried a bit of lyra and dance trapeze and other circus related activities that, it's once you try one, you get used to it, you're going to want to try something else and be more involved in the community.
Is there one that you would absolutely say, I would never do that? Is there one you just think, I don't think I would ever do that? Or are you just open to trying anything?
I will probably try everything once. There are some I'm definitely more afraid of myself. And it's usually all in my head. So specifically flying trapeze.
I can't even imagine that.
It is,
the trust you have to have.
But it's actually pretty safe because you're wearing a harness.
Well, that's true.
So especially as a beginner.
Yes, we have.
But it is scary. But yeah.
We have an extremely safe and robust on ramp for people who want to do more advanced flying trapeze at the space. But it's like it's that first mental bit of like, okay, I'm trying to hold my weight while moving in the air, like not exactly like Tarzan, but kind of like Tarzan.
Right.
And do I trust my body to do that? And at one point it's just give it a try and trust in those that have done this over years to keep me safe. That's probably the one I haven't done, though, probably next on the docket before I do potentially German wheel. I say I slightly did sear wheel because we had an iteration of this in the show where I touched it. I didn't actually do sear wheel. I touched the sear wheel, so I did it.
My thing that I would never do is more of a traditional circus discipline, which is hair hanging.
Oh my gosh.
And there actually is a hair hanging act in the show tonight at Madison Circus Space, which is by this Chicago-based company called Wild Card Circus. So if you're into hair hanging, there's still some tickets available for tonight.
I think there's about 3 left. So get them quick.
But yeah, that's my thing that I would never do. I also think my hair is just it's not long and nice enough to handle that. But other than that, I think I've touched almost all of the apparatuses. I've done a little bit of German wheel, done a little bit of steer wheel, terrifying. I'm now juggling. I've done some hula hooping, some clowning, things like that. But silk's definitely my least favorite aerial apparatus, and it's William's favorite. So we have to agree to disagree on that.
But that's how great it is.
Exactly.
It's like you can go in your own separate ways and appreciate what one person's desires and wants are, and have respect for the person. Like they're
Absolutely.
great at that. I don't want to do that, but I
Absolutely.
respect
It's
you
all
for
you.
doing it.
All you.
So talk to me a little bit more about the space that you're in. 'Cause I know you have your double duty with
Yes.
with Kishka, which we'll get to with this
Yes.
performance. But talk to me because I'm fascinated about the history and what the circus space is.
Yeah, so the venue that we're performing this show at is called the Madison Circus Space. And it was created in 2013, I want to say, a little over a decade ago. Well, more than a decade ago at this point. And it was created by a bunch of different circus performers in Madison who were looking for a place to train and eventually a place to put on shows. They were all sort of working in different warehouses or church basements and things like that. And so they kind of scrawled together some ideas on a napkin and thought, okay, maybe we have this crazy dream. We can rent space and we can incorporate this 501c3 nonprofit for circus arts. And one of the driving factors behind that was one of the founders, Carly Schuna, is the 5-time national German wheel champion. And so she was looking for a place to train German wheel, which, if you're not aware, is a very large wheel. Think like Vitruvian Man.
Oh,
And so it's very large and it needs specific flooring to be safe. So you can't just like whip it out over the grass in the park. And so that, was one of the deciding factors to lead to the creation of the Madison Circus Space, which is now one of, I think, only 10 places in the country where you can train German wheel still to this day, because it's such a cumbersome discipline.
And I'm assuming that lives in the space, right?
Yeah, so the wheels all live in the space.
Yeah.
And so there was a first space, and then, we sort of, I wasn't there yet at that time, but my understanding is that we outgrew that space. We fundraised over $1 million to build a new facility that was specifically designed to our specifications and our needs. In the meantime, we had to move to a temporary warehouse, but now our final place is on Winnebago Street. And it is this custom built facility that includes, like William was saying, flying trapeze. It has 40-foot ceilings, so you can have really high aerial points, full pulley system, sprung floors for dancing, all of these different components that you need to have a world-class circus training space. And so now we have we do double duty. Like, we are a community organization, a nonprofit. So we have these clubs that we offer to the community for free. People can drop in, they can learn how to do a handstand, they can juggle, they can practice German wheel, all of these different things. We also have shows that we put on. So Madison Circus Space hosted shows, those are essentially fundraisers for the nonprofit. So if you go to a Madison Circus Space hosted show, all of your money is going back into sustaining the operations. We also have a membership structure, so the members pay dues monthly to have 24/7 access to the space. That's unparalleled. Like, almost nowhere in the country does that. I think there's a place in New York that comes close. It's much more expensive, let me tell you.
Well, it's New York.
And so we have this whole community component. Well, we are entirely volunteer driven, with the exception of one part-time employee who does scheduling and some admin work. So everything else, like, I will take out the trash. Right? I write our press releases. I'm the secretary. Our other board members, they do, the financial aspects. They do the insurance aspects. We are all pitching in to like do the laundry while we're also doing these kind of high flying strategic planning objectives. And then the third pillar is that we do rent space out. So we rent space out to instructors who operate as independent contractors to teach a wide variety of classes. I think we have over 40 hours of programming a week. And then we also rent out space to traveling shows. And so that's kind of the category that Kishka is falling into now, although we originally did do the show at the Madison Circus Space as a Madison Circus Space show. But so, yeah, we'll have touring shows from all over the country, sometimes from other countries, come in and do their show at the Circus Space, in part because we have such a great community to support that and such a great infrastructure to put that on. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Well, the thing I was going to highlight, Sarah Louise said that volunteer driven, that includes the whole MCS shows, from producing, finding volunteers to run, for front of house, for finding acts and reviewing acts, for helping find people to run lights. That is the same people who are offering that time to do that. Mm-hmm. Sarah Louise actually does host a recurring show, and usually at the springtime, called Bizarre Bazaar, what's happening in March. We have another one of our castmates, Nicole Lane Starr, that hosts a very popular Halloween show that happens in October.
That's a good time for a Halloween show.
Yeah, very, very good time.
Good timing.
So that is, I think, where it shines the most, is trying to pitch in to help out everywhere that we can. And one way to donate is time if you don't have the actual monetary efforts there. Mm-hmm. And so there are times that we do host like circus try-its, where instructors will donate their time for families or others in the community to just try it out and see if it's something that they'll catch a bug for.
So now, is it just one big, huge space, or do you have like certain spaces where there's a class can be going on over there? And
yeah,
I'm assuming there's an audience space that has seating.
So
is it all like one big unit, or are there different? Is it cut up into different?
Yeah, so areas? It is one entire building itself, everything contained. Mm-hmm. Right when you enter in the first floor, we have our restrooms. We have a waiver to sign for new people coming in, the screen to say what's agending on the day. And immediately as you turn towards your right, you meet the expansiveness of the main space, or the main floor. That's where you'll see the German wheels, the setup for the flying trapeze, where we would kind of consider our main room, where mm-hmm. we host the show. That can also be half seating. We have risers that get set up to help with the seating. But we do have a lower studio that has mirrors to help with any type of dance or just trying mm-hmm. to visualize. Above that is about a mezzanine for holding some admin stuff, and people can actually, or members can, store some of their apparatus. So the silks, the ropes, the liras, we have some storage available so they can keep it at the circus space and train with it there. And then there is an upper studio, very much usually, like, I think of it as a third floor. It's also where I spend most of my time, as I'm usually always in the upper studio, where I've taught classes or I like to train. The height is a bit lower than the main room, so it is less of a, I get all the way at the top and like, oh my gosh, I'm 20 feet off the ground just holding my weight. And it is more accessible. But we also have all the mats available. We have, most of the time we use crash mats for any time we're doing aerial. We have a policy for safety with that goes along with how we use the pulley system. So there are, if I'm going to do rough counts off the top of my head from what I've seen, we have about, I would say close to 30 different points in the whole space that you could hang an aerial apparatus from. So whether it's some silks or it's trapeze, we have less points. We only have, I would say, about 7 points around the space to do any type of duo trapeze. So that's where you'll have to have 2 points together, and obviously 2 people are going to be using the same apparatus and doing that as well.
But yeah, so it is divided up. Like, you can have a little bit of privacy in the lower dance studio or in the upper studio. And then, the main space is what we use for our shows. Our seating capacity, depending on the layout of the stage, is between 150 and 175. So it's pretty sizable.
Yeah, that is.
With still a pretty large stage.
Very large.
Yeah, I mean, we're fitting all 9 cast members running around doing shenanigans.
So speaking of shenanigans, what a great segue. Yeah. So tell us about Kishka and what is your lovely outfit representing in Kishka?
Yes, so as you may be able to tell right here, I am the titular Kishka. For those who don't know, a Kishka is a sort of Eastern European blood sausage product. It's not my favorite food, but here I am embodying it. And so this show was created loosely based on a popular polka song from, I think, the 40s or 50s called Who Stole the Kishka by Frankie Yankovic. And so 3 of our castmates kind of had this crazy harebrained idea and developed this whole storyline riffing off of that original song, and decided to do sort of a 30s period piece, Depression era, a little bit of like a whodunit, who stole the Kishka. And so this whole story is, about how I go missing and what happens to me and how we resolve this story. And so like I said, originally this was the brainchild of 3 of our cast members, but then all of us were invited on in our different roles, and we joined the creative process, and we all brought our unique talents and ideas, and we fleshed out our characters, we fleshed out our individual acts, and it's been really a labor of love over the last, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years?
2 years, I would say.
At this point in time, where, we've all been meeting a lot, coordinating the schedules of somewhere between 9 and 12 people to find time to brainstorm and to rehearse.
I was going to say the people, but also how busy the Madison Circus space is. We want to be mindful that people can still host their classes, still train there. So usually it's very early mornings or very late nights that we're there. Or we also do sometimes rent out the space to make sure we have time that we can be there as well.
And I just want to add, because again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about finding circus, later in life, and both of us, originally not thinking that this was something we could do. Every single person in this show has a day job. Like we all have lives, and we are all doing this on top of our gainful employment. And so, yeah, we're just amazed that we've been able to create this amazing thing, working together all of our schedules and playing Tetris and trying to figure out where we can fit in the space.
And William, what's your role in Kishka?
So for those who can't tell or say, I am a cat, or the cat. The name isn't always as called out. We mostly make noises in the show rather than any actual spoken word. But my name is Cal in the show, and for that I play a bit of a mix of what's happening between the butcher, who is kind of owning the shop, as well as the butcher's sister, who's really the one running the shop between the two of them. And so I could say cause some tension between the two of them, as we have workers that are coming in looking for food, as we're trying to be in more of that Great Depression era. And really, I'm probably the, outside of a living sausage, the most chaotic character outside. So I will be on most of the apparatuses, and I will also be the most wacky of all of them.
And I noticed in one of the pictures there is a banana man.
What's
the banana man story arc?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Okay,
So I encourage people to go see the show if they want to see the full extent of the banana shenanigans, or the bananigans, as I like to call them.
Love it. The lore of
but there is a character that is the traveling banana salesman.
Okay.
And so that is Nick, who juggles in the show. That's his main role. But there's a little bit too much more to the banana story than that. So
trying to go with the kind of whodunit idea is that there are a lot of characters that want the Kishka or want to do something with the Kishka. We all have to find out what actually happens, who gets it, and at the end, what actually happens to the Kishka.
Yeah. And there's a surprise in store.
I love that. Hilarity ensues and a surprise is in store.
Exactly.
So now, is there music incorporated with this?
Yes. So each, I would say, group of cast, I say group because the workers usually work as a trio, but we each have mostly solo performances to help tell the story throughout the show. But we also have some ensemble moments. So we have worked both independently and then come together with our various different acts to tell a cohesive story throughout the whole show about, when the Kishka gets created and what happens at the end. And what is the relationship between all of our characters, and from kind of moving along, each of them have music that's in that kind of 1930s sound. They're not all 1930s songs, but
almost all of them were in fact released in the 1930s and 40s. I think there's like one exception.
But we all have, acts from that era to really sell. Sometimes it might have a silent movie type feel, though there is definitely sound that happens, but we think of that at times of the moment.
Yeah.
There's a little, I guess I can spoil this. There's a little cue card moment that we kind of walk by that is reminiscent of in the silent film where they'll pop up and explain what's kind of going on.
So has the show evolved differently? I'm assuming you have different people that have come and gone with it, but has something where it become something other than it was originally, I'm assuming?
So I will say that so far we've been really faithful to the original vision and idea, but there definitely have been changes. So we first performed this in April of 2025. We sold out all 3 shows. Since that time, one cast member has stepped down and has sort of mentored another cast member to step into her role. So it is still the same role, but how she has approached that performance has changed. The discipline has changed. The characterization has subtly changed. And then we also took that opportunity to really like think about the feedback we had received about our show, how we can make it even better. And so we actually added, I think, 3 new acts and reworked 3 acts pretty substantially. So it is a different show for those who saw it in April. Like, I think that they could definitely still come and see it and enjoy it and be like, wow, that was significantly different. But it is the same vision. It's the same vibes. It's the same like zany madcap ambiance, and that same silent movie 1930s era soundtrack.
And I'm assuming it's family friendly. Kids of all ages, or is there a certain
we are
threshold?
only doing evening shows, so I mean, that's maybe not family friendly in the sense of like if they have to go to bed.
Well, right.
But yes, it is family friendly. There's no explicit language, there's no nudity, there's nothing like that. It's
just a dancing sausage. I mean,
exactly, just a dancing sausage.
That is more true than you think.
So have you ever considered doing it as a kids show, like doing it in schools or an afternoon, or doing it for that, or is that just not?
I don't think that we have considered that. I don't know. I think we might be open to it for sure. We've kind of all worked collaboratively, but we have had 2 of the cast members who are more in a director type role, and I'm not sure that was their original vision, but who knows what's next for Kishka.
We did make a concerted effort when we incorporating that feedback on the first time of what can we simplify so that we could move the show elsewhere. That was probably the biggest deterrent, is to, if we did it the same way we did in April, is to take it maybe to a middle school or high school. We would be very limited in terms of doing the same things we do in the show in those venues. So I wouldn't say we are against. We want kids to have fun. I think we had a huge amount of them, and usually our matinee shows. So we do have a show at 4 p.m. that we see most of the kids, and some of we had last time folks from the Goodman Center. We offered actually some free tickets for them to come and see the show, because one of our performers, as well as one of the co-directors, actually volunteers time there as well at the Goodman Center.
Yeah, so we were also, doing outreach with older adults and things like that, because we thought, polka, 1930s music, Kishka, maybe they actually like Kishka.
Yep.
It's a great introduction for kids. To realize that it says the word circus, and a lot of kids, I'm assuming, I shouldn't assume, like I haven't been a kid in a long time, think of traditional circus.
Right.
I mean, they think of Baraboo, they think
Right.
of the circus trains, they think of the animals, they think of that as being, that's what circus is to them.
Yeah.
And this would be such a great way to be able to say there's more to this than what the word circus performing is, because it's not that.
Yeah, it's almost like we have more of a play that we do circus in.
It's a circus play.
Yeah,
There you go.
Almost, very physical theater.
Yeah. And I think, Madison is really great about that. Like, there are a lot of opportunities for kids to be exposed to what often gets referred to as new circus. So traditional circus is what you think of with, with or without animals, but it just kind of that really flashy, spangled, ta-da!
Right.
And, that's totally one tradition of circus, but there is also new circus, which is a little bit more influenced by theater and physical comedy and music and all these other disciplines coming in. And so, yeah, we're trying to, bring in some of the elements of traditional circus that still work for us and are really fun, but also incorporate a lot more disciplines and have it be more of a narrative storyline.
That's so cool. So tell me a little bit more about the show that's coming up after this one.
Oh, so Bizarre Bazaar.
Bizarre Bazaar. And is that one you've done before previously?
Yeah, so this is going to be the 4th year running that I'm doing. I call it like an eclectic circus variety show. So when I first launched the call for acts 4 years ago, my idea to performers is I was like, bring me your weird shit. Bring me the stuff that you can't put in another show. It is still, I would say it's like PG-13, right? So it's still family friendly-ish, probably just not fun for the youngest kids, not necessarily inappropriate, but I give my performers a little bit more leeway to address adult themes. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's sold out every year. It's been a real success. I got so many submissions this year. Unfortunately, I had to turn a lot of people down, but I'm really excited about the lineup for this year. William is going to be doing a Silks solo. I will also be doing a Lyra solo. And so it runs the gamut from, what I say to performers is like, I want things that you haven't seen on stage in Madison before. So that can be very different. I think William's piece is going to be quite serious. Other people, they think bizarre and they go totally wild and they're, in a fish costume dancing on stage or something, right? So it can run the gamut from like very campy, very silly to very serious, more kind of experimental avant-garde type performances. And so, yeah, it's a real, like, I think incubator for weird ideas at the circus space, which I am all about.
And I would say Bizarre Bazaar is similar to other shows that's at the Madison Circus Space, where a lot of times it is individual acts that make a collection of the show. So versus what we do in Kishka is definitely we focused on trying to tell a whole story from start to finish. So I think that was one thing that folks from a feedback wise they really enjoyed, is that it kept them engaged with the whole thing, though is more challenging to accomplish and put all that together than making my own act. I have about 4 minutes to make sure that I know how to do for Bizarre Bazaar versus an hour and 30 that we have for Kishka.
Yeah, and so the Madison Circus Space hosts, so Bizarre Bazaar is a fundraiser for the Madison Circus Space. I don't see a cent. It all goes back to MCS. But it's a lot easier. It's still a lot of work to produce those shows, and we use a lot of volunteer effort. But like William was saying, it's a lot easier to put something together if everybody's kind of bringing their own piece to the table rather than trying to coordinate schedules with 25 different people.
Sure.
So slightly different show models.
But I do think the Banana Man from Kishka did influence what you would see in Bizarre Bazaar.
Oh, he's going to be in it, I think. He's
Is that a
got
spoiler? Is this are we now making a metaverse across the Madison Circus Space?
You said it now.
Yeah.
Cat's out of the bag.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. The Kishka's out of the bag.
Kishka's out, cat's out. I mean, I am out and about on the podcast.
Banana's out of the peel.
Yeah. Let's just say Bizarre Bazaar this year, I'm toying with a tagline that says going bananas.
Gotcha. So how do people get tickets?
So people can get tickets by going to www.madisonCircusspace.com/events. they will see all of our upcoming shows there. Like I said, there is a show happening tonight. So if they go today, there will be another show at the top of the list. But then they'll see the 2 showtimes for Kishka, which is January 31st, next Saturday, at both 4 p.m. and 7 p.m.
And approximately how long does it run? Is it
It's
2
about
acts?
90 minutes.
2 acts?
Yeah, it's split in half, 90 minutes with a 10-minute intermission. So, give or take 10 minutes, depending on how it goes.
And how much are tickets?
We have 2 tiers of tickets. So we have the general admission ticket, which actually we have 3 tiers of tickets. General admission is $25. There's a reduced rate ticket, which is for kids or for anyone who, is on a reduced income, which is $12. And then we have what we call our Meat Lovers Special for $30, where you get a free Kishka sticker, which is very cute. And, as part of, we have some merch branded for the show. So, the people who really want to support us can do the Meat Lovers Special.
I love it. So welcome. Go and get a ticket, because I'm sure it's just going to be the most fun time you'll have in Madison. What a great thing you've done, and what a great space it is. I'm delighted to hear about it, because I knew very little about this. So I'm really grateful that you took some time out when you actually have a show tonight. So get your tickets, go and see this, go and support Circus, the new Circus in Madison. Thank you so much, William. Thank you, Sarah Louise, for coming, and thank you for joining us on Biz Buzz with Bruno. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Brett. And we'll see you next time. Go.